there's just so much evidence out there that people that are trying to perform masculinity and traditional masculinity more are the people, like boys and men, that are more aggressive. They're angrier. They have a more narrow bandwidth of emotions, because in some research I've been doing recently for another project, that because the man box is so nebulous, it's what makes it so difficult for a man to understand what that means to be a man. So the only message they get is that don't be a girl and don't be gay. And so that message takes away the humanity from boys and men. And the only way that we resist it is with friends around us and people around us that are helping us to resist these tropes. But if if you're in a community, like let's say maybe aspects of the black community, or if you're in Russia, or you're in these really heavily masculine ideas dominated places, then you kind of feel like you have to do that, otherwise you're going to be punished for it. And that's just like then your emotions have nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. And
right.
The key piece of that is I'm now seeing that explosion of emotion in practices. So what's happening is, and I said that, so I had a parent meeting last night where I walked them through my thought process and how I evaluate players. And towards the end of that whole discussion was, we've gotten to a point where when coaching, they can't understand how to take in constructive criticism and not take it, the word I want to use is personal, but I don't think that's where I'm trying to go. But they don't know how to actually take that in and separate the emotion from the criticism, and therefore understand what the performance is needed. And therefore, there becomes an outpouring of emotion, which typically shows up in the gym as frustrated crying, shutdowns, or complete give-ups.
Right. And how old are these kids?
This year, grade 12, oh, sorry, not grade 12, grade 7, so 12 years old, turning 13.
Okay. Yeah, that is quite a delicate age.
Yeah.
And so have you also like modulated how you address these kids as well, to see if there's like another tactic, or I don't know if there's a behavioral psychologist that does coaching? Like I don't know. That would be really challenging, I would imagine, because like what you want to teach them. Like for me, knowing you, I know you're not trying to ride these kids like I'm so bad. I don't even have a coach to give an example of, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, and so like I know that you want to get your message across, but like now this is a different cohort of kids. Like I heard like I don't know what classification, if it's not millennials, like the Gen Zs maybe it is, but like there's a definite turn of their emotionality that either some men are really just taught to be masculine, or they just have so many emotions now that it's how do we deal with them?
But and that's so, to that point is not only how do we deal with them, but how do people around us deal with them? Because our generation, growing up as young men, we were told to hold that line. Your emotions shouldn't be playing into everything that you're doing. I heard that my entire life.
Right.
Now, how do you, as a person who is overseeing this younger generation, take on those emotions and help them navigate it? I've never been taught how. So how can I help somebody?
Right. Well, then, it's you have to go to your local library, buddy. I don't know, because I don't know, because I think what I'm learning now, reading about more mental health stuff, is that like what would have been, and I really can't fault our parents here, because they didn't even know that this was something that they should do for us.
Thank you.
Right. And so like, it would have been nice if they did pay attention to what we said and how we were feeling. And I'm sure we all got like on the spectrum of that care, right? And so, but a lot of these kids now, like, I don't know, because if the thing is, we need to be taught how we can process our emotions. Because I remember even when I played softball, I was really hard on myself. I was really hard on myself growing up, and like. I remember playing baseball, and I was so nervous that I was on third base. Someone hit a deep pop fly, and all I had to do was like wait till they caught the ball and then run in. And because I was just so nervous I was going to fuck up for something, I I left late or whatever. I ended up getting thrown out at home, and I remember like I just sat in the grass, hating myself for the rest of that game. I probably went home and hated myself, and like it's because I was so scared. But someone should have, well, not should have. It was like high school softball, but like how to process what I was feeling,
Yep.
and how to kind of overcome those things so that the mental game was stronger.